Live Super Doppler. This is KCCI News Channel 8's First News at 5.
An update this afternoon on an Urbandale bank robbery and chase that left 2 suspects dead. The 2 others charged in the case coming up.
Some county jails in Iowa are filling up beyond capacity. I'm Amy Joseph in Atlantic, Iowa, where the overcrowding situation is being met with no money for expansion. We'll have the story coming up from your Western Iowa Live Link.
And I just wanted to say that I'm very sorry, and my thoughts will always be with you.
And an important apology today for a woman who spent days trapped in a car in a Florida swamp.
Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. Urbandale police are now telling us more about 2 people who were shot and killed yesterday following a bank robbery.
They wrapped up a news conference just a few moments ago. KCCI News Channel 8's Jeff Greenwood is live at the Urbandale Police Station. And Jeff, what did you learn in that news conference?
Well, Steve and Cynthia, we learned a lot yesterday about what happened, but there were many unanswered questions, including who were these people who were killed yesterday following the bank robbery and a police shootout. They told us today, and what's interesting about this case is that it appears that 3 of these people involved in this, 3 of the 4 people, are actually brothers. Yesterday morning, police responded to a bank robbery at the West Bank Ranch on 99th Street between Hickman and Douglas. Police spotted a blue minivan matching the description of the getaway vehicle. They tried to pull it over. The chase stopped on Interstate 80 when the van stopped and 2 men got out. Police say the men had guns. Officers from Urbandale and the Iowa State Patrol opened fire.
The driver of the vehicle, identified as Charles Simmons, exited the vehicle and advanced on officers, displaying a weapon in a threatening manner. At the same time, Paul Simmons, who was still in the vehicle, pointed his weapon at officers. All 3 officers fired upon the 2 suspects.
Now, that Charles Simmons was the driver, Paul Simmons, his brother. These are the weapons. Take a look at the weapon on the left. There were 3 of those weapons involved here. Each man had a weapon, and there was also a weapon that was thrown out of the van that police later found on Interstate 80. To the right is a Glock 9mm weapon. That's what police used. And police say that these officers had to make a split-second decision in making their decision to fire shots at these gunmen. And those are the weapons that they had. So although they were BB guns, police say they look just as deadly as a real gun. Now, 2 people, the people who survived, saw a judge this morning in the Polk County Jail courtroom. They're both charged with first-degree robbery. One is a man, the other a woman. They're both charged with first-degree robbery. 56-year-old Terry Simmons does not list a current address, but he tells police he's originally from Des Moines. The woman, 24-year-old Jeanette Freeman, is from Pasadena, California. She told the judge she's been in Des Moines only since yesterday, the day of the bank robbery. Steve and Cynthia, several police agencies, including the Iowa DCI, are reviewing this case, and most likely it's going to get sent to a grand jury. Meantime, the officers involved in this case, 2 Urbandale officers and an Iowa State trooper, have desk jobs while this is under review.
All right, Jeff, and we'll hear more from you on this at 6 o'clock.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, a number of county jails along Interstate 80 are overcrowded.
Increased drug traffic is being blamed for much of the problem. As Western Iowa Live Link reporter Amy Joseph shows us, it's costing one county a lot of money.
The Cass County Jail in Atlantic, Iowa has space for 23 prisoners.
Right now, we're at 28. We've got 5 housed out to another county.
Sheriff Larry Jones says the department is paying at least $55 per day per inmate that is housed in a neighboring jail. He remembers a time when the jail sat nearly empty.
Back 10 years ago, if we'd have 10 in at a time.
For years, the jail reserved beds to house federal inmates and prisoners from other counties. That helped bring in money.
Since 5 years ago, we haven't been able to do that because of our own locals and I-80 going through here and getting a lot of traffic off of I-80.
More than 90% of the inmates in Cass County are here for drug-related crimes. The full beds keep jailers busy.
It's really like a rat race because you try to keep up. Everybody wants something.
A representative for the Iowa Department of Corrections says there is an overcrowding issue throughout the state, but it's a sporadic problem with no real solution.
We guess would cost probably $1.5 million to put another floor on.
Sheriff Jones has taken his concerns to the County Board of Supervisors. He's asked for help in funding an expansion project, but knows it's not possible.
Absolutely no way. There's just money's not there.
That was Amy Josias reporting. Sheriff Jones says the department is spending at least $2,000 a month to house prisoners elsewhere. A number of surrounding counties are dealing with the same problem.
President Bush visits Iowa on Friday and plans to stop by a Des Moines printing company. The president will talk with employees at the Printer Incorporated and unveil his plans for retirement security. This comes in the midst of the Enron scandal. Michelle Parker talks with the company president about why Mr. Bush picked the Printer Incorporated tonight on News Channel 8 at 6. Well, the U.S. is now offering a $5 million reward for those who murdered Daniel Pearl.
And that story tops our news around the nation today. The State Department hopes the reward will lead to the arrest of those responsible. It will be advertised in Pakistan and on the State Department's website. Meantime, suspect Ahmad Omar Saeed may be turned over to the U.S. The Pakistani authorities say they might want to try him first.
The U.S. is hoping to get some DNA samples from Osama bin Laden's family. Unidentified human remains have been collected from the site of several airstrikes, and the U.S. hopes to determine if bin Laden's remains are among them. Bin Laden's family members say the samples could be easily obtained from hospitals and other sources.
The husband of Andrea Yates took the stand this afternoon in Texas in her murder trial. Russell Yates has continued supporting his wife since she drowned their 5 children. Earlier, a psychiatrist who treated Yates testified, saying she had warned Yates not to have any more babies because it might cause her to become psychotic.
A government group now says the results of a study on underage drinking released yesterday are not statistically accurate. The National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse reported that 25% of all alcohol was consumed by underage people. But now it says that figure is more like 11%. The group still contends that teenage drinking is a major problem that needs to be addressed.
An interesting story out of Florida, a little bit of closure for a grandmother who spent 3 days stranded in a bug-infested swamp.
Tilly Tudor's car was forced off the road by another driver. And as Gretchen Carlson reports, today she received a very important apology.
I feel very remorseful.
More than anything else, 85-year-old Tilly Tudor wanted to hear an apology.
I just wanted to say that I'm very sorry, and my thoughts will always be with you.
And give a little grandmotherly advice.
I hope that you have learned a lesson from this ordeal.
And that's exactly what happened in court today. The apology from Scott Campbell was part of a plea agreement that gives Campbell probation instead of jail time for leaving the scene of an accident. It was a Florida highway accident that left the feisty grandmother lying in a bug-infested swamp for 3 days. Tudor survived the ordeal by drinking rainwater, sucking on a cough drop, and chewing a piece of gum.
I screamed, I ranted, I raved for somebody to help me, to get me out of this.
Back in the summer of 2000, the 23-year-old defendant told police he crashed into a wall and that no other cars were involved. Police did respond to the scene, but never found Tudor until a teen picking up trash spotted her 3 days later.
I was bitter at first, but I'm not anymore. And life goes on. You just have to go with the flow.
Tudor still plans to sue the government agencies that failed to find her, but she's agreed to settle her civil lawsuit against Campbell now that she's heard an apology face-to-face. Gretchen Carlson, CBS News.
Ooh, what an interesting story of
Very
survival.
interesting story.
Well, we had a pretty nice day out there again.
It's going to get better, I think. Curtis Gertz is back in the weather lab. Curtis.
Not bad, a little sunshine out there today. Less wind. It was still a bit breezy, but a little windy at times. Tonight, full moon in perigee. Just means it's the full moon this year that's closest to the earth. A tad warmer on Thursday, and big Missouri snow on Friday. And we'll see if some of that snow is headed our way. We'll talk about that 5-day forecast coming up in a few minutes.
I like that big snow. Mo snow. Got it. Thanks, Curtis.
Well, still to come on First News at 5, see why the government wants women to start getting mammograms earlier.
Plus, what you can expect to see during tonight's Grammy show. Jeanette Trumpeter is live from the red carpet next on First News at 5.
You're watching KCCI News Channel 8's First News at 5. Iowa's news leader. With Steve Carlin, Cynthia Fodor, and meteorologist Curtis Gertz with exclusive live Super Doppler weather. This is KCCI News Channel 8.
Tonight is the night when dreams come true out in Los Angeles.
It is Grammy night, and musicians in more than 100 categories are hoping they live the dream of taking one home tonight. Jeanette Trumpeter is live in Los Angeles along the red carpet where the stars will be arriving fairly soon. Right, Jeanette?
That's right, Cynthia. We're actually about 2 hours away from showtime, but the artists are starting to trickle in because they're giving away awards in all the categories that won't be televised. And the truth is, that is most of the categories, because definitely when the show starts tonight, you're going to see more performances than you will see award presentations.
So, sisters, let me hear you flow, sisters.
Over the last few years, the Grammy folks have really tried to make the performances the focus of the star-studded event. And from what we've seen at rehearsals, it's going to be quite a show. You'll see a lot of collaborations.
Give it up for Miss Patti LaBelle,
Like Patti LaBelle, who made Lady Marmalade a hit a quarter-century ago, performing with the music divas who have made it a hit again for the movie Moulin Rouge.
It's a compliment when somebody does something that you've done. So there's nothing but love for the poor girls.
Teamwork is kind of a theme of the show tonight. Emmylou Harris, Alison Krauss, Ralph Stanley, Jillian Welch, and the Soggy Bottom Boys gather to toast Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And Latin artist Alejandro Sanz joins forces with Destiny's Child to perform a number they had planned to do at the Latin Grammys back on September 11th, which were canceled due to the attacks. All of the performers tonight are nominees. Outkast will perform their catchy hit, Ms. Jackson. They're nominated in 4 categories. And look who we have here on the red carpet. This is the new Miami Sound Machine, which comprises of
Soani, Carla, Lorena.
And they're gathering a lot of attention here, and here's why. If you guys need to go back to news, you can just take it away, but you got to hear a little bit of this sound. Go ahead.
We're going to give you a little taste of our new single called I'm the Only One, in store soon. Here we go. I'm the one who's loving you. I'm the only one you know what who really needs to know you. So what, baby, don't you worry. I'll let you lead. I'll follow. Haters, fake it, baby, look at us. You know they can't take it. So what, I'm making love to you. I'm the one. I'm the one. I'm the one who's loving you.
Fabulous. You can see why they're grabbing attention. They're not too bad looking. I think Courtney, our photographer, he was saying, just bring them back. Can they just stick around for a little while?
Sure, I felt like they were singing that just to me.
Good luck to you.
They're good. You've been running into a lot of people.
That's the kind of thing that happens here. That's the kind of thing that happens here on the red carpet. Like I said, the artists just trickling in. And this is how it goes. The publicists come along and say, are you interested? And we chat with them. And we did see Bonnie Raitt earlier and Dr. Ruth Westheimer, who's nominated for Best Spoken Word. So the celebrities are starting to arrive. We're going to have another report for you tonight at 6.
Good night, Jeanette.
We'll watch for that one. Okay, thanks,
Ruth
Jeanette.
Westheimer there. That was really bad.
Not too bad. The Grammys start at 7 o'clock tonight. You'll see 3.5 hours of your favorite stars, which means that News Channel 8 at 10 actually starts at 10:30 tonight, followed by The Late Show with David Letterman at 11:05. And still to come, do mammograms really save lives?
See what an Iowa senator is doing to clear up the confusion.
And a bit of a storm developing to the west that will cruise by to our south on Friday. Details next.
This live Super Doppler 8 forecast is sponsored by Dodge. Keeping Central Iowa ahead of the storm. Your live Super Doppler 8 forecast.
Welcome back, everyone. Turned out to be a fairly nice day when you consider where we started. Most locations early morning in the single digits. Up around Spencer started out the day 3 degrees below zero, but with sunshine we warmed up to 29. Still a bit of a west wind chills down in the teen skies, mostly sunny, but the high clouds starting to increase out there. Dew point, very dry atmosphere, a -1. Relative humidity just 27%, and the barometer 30.12, and presently falling. SchoolNet Station, Rock Run Elementary up in Iowa Falls. 27 degrees, a wind chill there of 19. Still a southwest wind at 8, but earlier today, upwards of 24 miles per hour out of the northwest. Sully Christian, a new SchoolNet station added yesterday. West winds at 13, northwesterly peak a little earlier at 24. 19 is the wind chill, and the temperature there 29 degrees. Across the Midwest, most of Minnesota started out the day below zero, but also sunshine to the north. Temperatures there in the 20s, some 30s across, well, around southwestern Iowa up towards Harlan and Sioux Falls. North Platte 36 and 40 degrees in Dodge City. kind of seasonal temperatures out there, but just slightly below normal for this time of year. Satellite and radar, you see the sunshine across the state, but we are starting to see increasing clouds. A weak system is going to move on through and not a lot of moisture to work with, so some clouds with this system and potentially some flurries overnight and through the early part of Thursday. Here's our west sky cam, and this is from about 12:30 this afternoon through 3:30, and beautiful blue skies out there, and again, just a few high clouds for the afternoon hour, but those clouds slowly increasing in front of this system. Another system to the north, and actually one developing off to the southwest, will affect us late on Thursday into Friday. Cool front slides on through as we head throughout the day Thursday, then kind of locks up along the Missouri border. Area of low pressure develops out to the west, and eventually that could bring some snow to southern Iowa late Thursday night into Friday. Here's your predictor computer model time frame, 6 o'clock tonight. Everything fairly quiet. Clouds increase, again, a few flurries with that first system. Then in behind this, a gradual clearing, some afternoon sunshine, then another batch of clouds. And by 6 in the morning, snow fairly intense in southwestern Iowa. Here's Des Moines right here. Notice how everything kind of slides by to the south. Right now, early projections, Kansas City, Missouri, potentially 8 inches of snow out of this system now. Still a ways off, but all this scooting by to the south. Southern Iowa, though, could see some accumulating snow, so a storm worth keeping an eye on, but the biggest impact looks to be down to our south. 13 degrees tonight, increasing clouds, some flurries late. Southwest winds 5 to 15. Not a bad day tomorrow, a morning flurry or two. Other than that, look for partly sunny skies, a little warmer, 33. West winds 10 to 15. It's late Thursday night into Friday when that snow develops out in southeastern Nebraska and slides through southwestern Iowa and the southern part of the state. Northern Missouri definitely affected by that. And then the weather kind of cool but quiet for the weekend. 25 on Saturday, Sunday 32, and a bit of a warm-up on Monday, 38 degrees.
Bad. It's almost the weekend, isn't it?
Isn't that nice? Our average high for February, about 42 degrees. So even with a few cold days, we're still well above normal.
Oh, that's great.
Boy.
Thank you, Curtis. Well, last night, CBS News showed how simple it is to get fake IDs. And tonight at 5:30, see how far those IDs will take them.
CBS continues its special reports on the new airport security. Then it's News Channel 8 at 6, and Kevin is in the newsroom with a look at that. Kevin?
Cynthia and Steve, inspectors apparently didn't like what they found when they visited a central Iowa meat locker. Chris Negus is on that story tonight.
Thousands of pounds of meat are being thrown away at a meat locker in Conrad. I'm Chris Negus. I'll tell you why tonight on News Channel 8 at 6.
We may be more than an hour and a half away from showtime, but they're already handing awards out here in Los Angeles. I'm Jeanette Trumpeter. Live coverage from the Grammys coming up.
President Bush visits this printing company on Friday. I'm Michelle Parker. I'll tell you why.
And oh, what a big game tonight. 10th rated Iowa State women as they face number 8 Baylor. That game coming up in Ames, and we'll have a preview at 6 from our sports department. Steve and Cynthia, we'll see you in about 39 minutes.
And we will be there. Thank you, Kevin.
And still to come, the research against mammograms, but why the government thinks they are more important than ever.
The new guidelines for mammograms are next in today's Here's to Your Health Report. Do regular mammograms help fight breast cancer?
That's the subject of a hearing in Washington tomorrow. Health reporter Molly Cooney has the details.
The Department of Health and Human Services says about 200,000 women will be diagnosed this year with breast cancer, and of those, more than 40,000 will die. While mammogram x-rays often are the first line of defense, critics say they can fail to detect cancer. So a joint hearing will be held on Capitol Hill to clear up that confusion.
I just want to make sure that we have the best science, and I want to make sure that all women in Iowa have the best information possible that they can use to make sure that they are adequately protected.
Senator Tom Harkin, who this week also met with Iowa Governor Tom Vilsack to discuss the health issues facing Iowans, is chair of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Health. Thursday afternoon, he will hold the hearing, making sense of the mammography controversy, what women need to know.
The purpose of these hearings is to try to get more information and to get it out to the women in Iowa. But I still believe that screening, early detection, is still the best route to take, and I have seen nothing to contradict that yet.
Just last week, Secretary of Health Tommy Thompson issued the government's new recommendations on screenings for breast cancer and says the bottom line is mammograms are effective.
When it comes to mammography, the federal government's recommendation remains very clear. Women in their 40s and older should be screened every 1 to 2 years with mammography.
That's an update from the government's previous recommendation of annual mammograms over the age of 50. This comes after Danish researchers released studies saying there is no proof that mammograms save lives. Thursday's joint hearing in Washington will include testimony from cancer researchers nationwide, but hits very close to home for Senator Harkin.
Well, as most people know, I lost both my sisters at an early age to breast cancer. This is a very important and meaningful issue to me.
Men also can develop breast cancer. An estimated 1,500 will receive that diagnosis this year. Nearly 400 cases will be incurable. But when breast cancer is diagnosed and treated early, the 5-year survival rate is 95%. For Here's to Your Health, I'm Molly Cooney.
A task force that includes the National Cancer Institute says women ages 40 and older should get mammograms every 1 to 2 years, saying it is effective in reducing the number of deaths. We'll be right back.
For up-to-the-minute weather information, day or night, call the live Super Doppler 8 forecast at 247-8880. Sponsored by Hyundai. Today's market report is sponsored by the Des Moines office of A.G. Edwards & Sons.
Hey, Curtis is back with a gradual warm-up.
Yeah, towards the weekend. We got a couple little things to do with until then. Few flurries tomorrow, high of 33. Most of the cloudiness and flurry activity would be very early. Friday, a fairly significant storm sliding by to our south will be on the northern edge of that. Could see a little light snow here. Better chances of heavier snow as you head down towards the Missouri border. Quieter weather ahead for the weekend with a gradual warming trend. 30s on Sunday and upper 30s on Monday.
All right. Thank you, Curtis. And thank you for joining us this afternoon. The CBS Evening News is next.
We'll be back again at 6. See you then.